see a lot of prayers in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, starting from first canto onwards. They exhibit their mood and wonderfully glorify the Lord's name, pastimes, activities. So following in the footsteps of great devotees, we also can offer these prayers to the Lord for our own purification, for our own benefit. Dear Prahlad Maharaj is offering the prayers, begging the mercy from the Lord and asking the benediction. So usually the prayers have glorification and specific request or a benediction. But the Lord willing to give everything, but when we see these prayers, we see that how the pure devotees pray for only one thing, that is pure devotional service. Even though the Prahlad Maharaj is put into difficult situations and circumstances which we can't think of, but still he always prayed for the Lord, for devotional service, remembering the Lord. This is the nature of a devotee. He never accuses the Lord. I am serving you, I am chanting your glories, I am doing your service, why you are giving suffering to me? We can see from the life of Pandavas, even the life of Prahlad Maharaj, never was a time that he accuses the Lord. I am doing so much for you, then why you are giving me so much suffering? In fact, one of the Prabhupada has given lecture on this verse in Mayapur 2 times. So Prabhupada explains that a devotee's mood is always sees the reverses and the suffering of the condition which he encounters in his life as a mercy of the Supreme Lord. By his past misdeeds, he has to suffer a lot. But because of the mercy of the Lord, he is only receiving a token. So Prabhupada gives an example of a father chastising his son. A father chastising his son may sound like heavy, but is actually in favor of the son. Similarly, a devotee going through some hardships in life is nothing but the favor mercy bestowed on the devotee by the Lord. Of course, it is a very elevated platform. Then one can see the hands of the Supreme Lord in the most difficult situation in his life. That itself a great blessing. That if one able to see that this is because just the mercy of the Lord. So here, even though Prahlad Maharaj is put into a lot of difficulties, but still he is least or disturbed by the external conditions. Why? Because he is always remembering the Lord and he is always praying and connected with the Supreme Lord. And he is, not only that, he is also preaching to his classmates. How you can also become a great Vaishnava. So we can see that the consciousness of Prahlad Maharaj, he is compassionate, not just thinking about himself, and always thinking about the Lord in the midst of Asura family and all the demons. Very contradicting with nature. The circumstances, the situation, the time, everyone trying to kill him, and then he is trying to save everyone. It's quite interesting. And then the contrasting, you see, Hiranyakashipu, he had everything. All the material facilities. The demigods are fear seeing him. He had conquered all the three worlds basically. He was the greatest of the all demon. He was the king. Right? He had everything in his disposition. But just one person made his life miserable. Prahlad Maharaj. This is the envy. You can see that he couldn't able to take this personality, that Prahlad Maharaj. He couldn't able to stand. So, it's like, for example, when we have all the reason to think about God or Krishna, when we can have the reason to uplift our consciousness and Krishna consciousness, and then we get some wound or some cut or some bad thing happen to our body, right? So then our whole consciousness is bogged down to that wound. We only think about that. Oh, my hand should be protected, no one should hit, I should put a band-aid, oh, it's so painful. We are constantly thinking about that small wound. Probably it goes for days, depending upon what we get. I'm not saying bad. We can see how our consciousness is changed. We see the demons. They're constantly thinking about the Krishna. Kamsa was constantly thinking about Krishna. What is Krishna? What he's going to do? But unfortunately, in a very unfavorable situation or condition. Similarly, here Hiranyakashipu is constantly thinking about Prahlad Maharaj. But probably this would be our goal also if you really think. We are constantly meditating upon the pure devotee and the Supreme Lord, right? But it's just that it became unfavorable. They want to kill. He want to kill Prahlad Maharaj. Can you believe? He was constantly thinking about Prahlad Maharaj. This I want to kill. I want to kill Vishnu. I want to kill Narasimhadev. I want to kill Prahlad Maharaj. So materialistic means it's like that. It's duality. So Prabhupada explained, anything bad is material. Anything good is spiritual. You see here in material world, everything is bad. And in the spiritual world, everything is good. Why material world everything is bad? Because in the material world, we want to use everything for our own sense gratification. That's why it is bad. But in the spiritual world, everything revolves around Krishna. One's endeavor, one's quality, one's skill, ability, everything they put in the service of Krishna, which is bhakti. What is bhakti? That we can able to employ our senses in the service of Krishna, that is bhakti. So in the material world there is duality, good and bad. So here the Lord is furious and angry. He is Sudurasadam, very difficult to approach. Why? Because Manyu samrambam, in a completely angry mood. The Lord is exhibiting such a ferocious, angry mood. And what we do? We worship that. In material world, no one worship if someone shows angry. You can try it at home. Maybe try. You show your most ferocious angry towards your partner. What will happen? You will see Newton's law. Equal and opposite reaction. Isn't it? More ferocious. So this quality of anger, lust, greed, in the material world, it is condemned. It is a lower grade quality. Lower grade quality, low class qualities, we can say. Why? Because by exhibiting this quality, one consciousness is brought down to bodily platform. Right? But where these qualities are coming from? Janmadhyasya ataha. There is only one source. All the quality, all the manifestation, Krishna is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravattate. That it either be spiritual, material, whatever you see, it is all emanating from that Supreme Lord, Krishna. So it is said that the religious or the dharma or the good qualities are emanating from the front of the Lord, and the bad qualities are emanating from the backside of the Lord. But Krishna, when he is exhibiting this quality, for example, Krishna is stealing the butter. Then we have a temple, Makanchor. We celebrate and worship the greatest thief, which is not, we don't see in the material world. A greatest thief is not worshipped in the material world. Imagine you stealing something. Depends. If you are in the Gulf countries, if you steal, what they happen? They'll chop your hand, right? If you steal, depending upon what, the severity of the punishment is so great, actually. You might lose your life also. We don't know. In the material world, it is a perverted reflection. When Krishna is stealing butter, it enhances the bliss of the devotee. It enhances the devotion. When Krishna will come and steal my butter. This is the mood of gopis. Think about lust. There is a spiritual lust, sensual attraction towards a Lord, which is celebrated as the highest of a relationship or a position of a greatest devotee who can be with the Lord. Vrajavadus are the gopis, who are exhibiting the spiritual lust. Even in Nectar of Devotion, the Raganuga or the devotion by spontaneity, either by sensual attraction or by relationship. They give the example of the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, and they use this word lust. But then very cautiously, Rupa Goswami explained that one should not confuse with a materialistic lust. So Bhagavad Gita, we know there is a definition of lust. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajaguna bhava, samudbhava, right? What is lust? When the pure love of a living entity, which is exhibited towards Krishna in the spiritual world, when it comes down to this material world, it is transformed into lust. Exactly like the milk, when it comes with the tamarind, it converted into yogurt. So the lust is nothing but a perverted reflection of that original love which we have for Krishna. So the lust is glorified. The spiritual lust is glorified. Now coming back, anything material is bad, but when it is used in the service of Krishna, it is good. So as long as the material things or the matter which is employed in the service of Krishna is spiritual. Example, our body. Right? You take anything. This is our philosophy. It is getting spiritualized. Prabhupada gives the example of the iron rod. The iron rod is placed in the fire, and by time the iron rod start acting like fire. It develops the quality of the fire. It is no more iron rod, it is fire. Similarly, excuse me, when a matter employed in the service of Krishna, it is getting its spiritual revived, the spiritual thing is revived, it becomes spiritual. And our body, our senses, as long as we are engaging the senses in the service of Krishna, we are safe. That is called self-control. What is the control? Because how can you control senses? It is impossible. It is impossible. The material energy is always alluring us. Our senses are venomous snake. Our mind is material. The three modes of material nature we are interacting every day in, day out. Right? We are dealing with all sorts of people coming, exhibiting the qualities from three modes of material nature. Devi yeshu gunamayi mamamaya duratyaha mam evai prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Krishna is saying, you forget it. It's impossible for you to overcome these modes. What are you talking? You are an insignificant jiva trying to lord over this material energy. This material energy is my energy, is divine. It is difficult. It is too difficult actually. What's the hope? The hope is that when we can able to engage our senses, that to the degree we can able to engage our senses constantly in the service of Krishna. This is our goal, very simple. You employ all the senses in the service of Krishna. Otherwise, you are in the service of Maya. There is only either this or that. There is no grey line. Black or white. You are meant to serve. So, either you serve Krishna or you are forced to serve Maya. Simple. There is no rocket science. So, when you do that, then it is good. So then comes the question, is the material world, everything is bad? Yes, if you used for your sense gratification. So then comes a devotee, then he is not worried whether he is in this world, whether he is in the palace of Hiranyakasipu, whether he is in the hellish planet or Vaikunta. Because for him, everything is an exhibition of the Lord's energy and he is trying to use in the service of Krishna. So, Isha Vashyam, Idam Sarvam. Right? Everything is owned and controlled by that Lord who is the supreme controller, Krishna, and he is employing in the service of Krishna. So, then it will become good. Then it becomes spiritual. Now, okay, this is one way of seeing. So, seeing the material aspect as good when it is employed in the service of Krishna, all these qualities. So these qualities can be used in the service of Krishna. How can these qualities, which is very low grade qualities, this is not a recommendation for a neophyte devotee. Initial stage, oh yeah, I will use lust, I will use anger in the service of Krishna. It has to be done very cautiously, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master actually. So here Narottam Das Thakur in his Prem Bhakti Chandrika is giving the solution. How can one use the service? Kama Krishna karmarpane. He is saying kama, lust. How can we use lust in the service of Krishna? Krishna karmarpane. That one can engage lust by offering it in Krishna's service. One is lusting for Krishna's service. I want to do Krishna's service. This is lust, right? Lust is what? That manifestation of an intense desire to enjoy something independent of Krishna. Right? Here bogged down that your consciousness is filled with only you. Me, I and me and mine. You can't see anything. Everything is like blacked out. You can only see the object of enjoyment, and you are constantly hankering for that. Very mode of passion. Intense desire. Isn't it? So one is desiring for service for Krishna. Imagine you are always thinking, when will I serve Krishna? When will be? Then what happens? You will look for the opportunity to serve Krishna, and you are constantly enthused to grab the opportunity for service of Krishna. What is the opposite of that? You some or other, you avoid the opportunity of service of Krishna. This is very bad. Right? We justify our position for not doing the service. We somehow or other sneak out. That means you are using your intelligence in a lusty way. Krishna says, mind, senses and intelligence are the seating places of the lust. When you plan, when you execute of desire to serve Krishna, then you are employing the lust in the service of Krishna. But at the same time, when you try to avoid the service of Krishna and only thinking about your own enjoyment, and you are planning your everything in that spectrum, then you are caught by the material lust, which is going to cover you. Like smoke covered the fire, right? Mirror covered by the dust, and the embryo covered by the womb. See? What the lust does? The lust actually, it will burn your knowledge. It will burn your knowledge. Lust is compared to the fire, right? It will burn down all your knowledge, especially the spiritual knowledge. You would have learned again and again, we have been reminded, I am not this body, I am the spirit soul. My position is Jivera, Jivera Swarupa Hoi, Krishnera Nitya Das. I am an insignificant servant. But this knowledge are gone in the window. Memory is lost. All the good memory, good advice, good instruction, everything is lost. And you are just bogged down to this consciousness of me and my body. So the lust can be employed in the Krishna service, one is desiring, one is anchoring, one is wanting, I want service, I want service. Think about our initial days in our Krishna consciousness, right? We are just accept anything and everything in the service of, right? We don't ask much question. Right? We only worried, oh, can I get service? The initial phases of our Krishna consciousness, we are open to service. I am free, right? We go to so that's why, when we are, what is that? Utsahan Nishchayat Dhairyat. Utsahan Nishchayat Dhairyat. Interesting actually, when Rupa Goswami says, when a devotee very enthusiastic, sometimes when we are very enthusiastic about the service, but we don't know how to do the service, it's going to be a blunder. Like we are enthusiastic about cooking sometime, but we don't know cooking. Your enthusiasm is not going to give a perfect, conducive, progressive environment for your bhakti to grow, right? At the same time, if you lack enthusiasm but only patience, you will miss the opportunity to serve, right? So there is enthusiasm, patience, and then in between there is confidence. Your enthusiasm has to be there. At the same time, you have to equip yourself to do the service properly. Submissive inquiry, rendering humble service. You can't be just enthusiastically, oh yeah, I will do, yeah, I will go into the altar and do the arati. If you don't know how to do the arati, and if you are enthusiastic, it's not going to be pleasing to the Vaishnavas and Krishna. So your enthusiasm is there in the initial phase, but it has to be guided by the spiritual master with the confidence, with the, inquire submissively. That's everything has to be perfectly balanced. Your enthusiasm, your patience, your confidence. Tat tat karma pravartanat. You need to follow the regulative principle. You need to follow the regulative principles of devotional service. Sangatyaga sato vritti. You have to give up the association of the materialistic people, non-devotees, and follow the footsteps of the great Vaishnavas and Acharyas. Then it is conducive. Supersediti. Then he is saying, what he is saying? Krodha bhakta dveshi jane. Anger. Anger is, I will direct towards those who are envious of the devotees and the Lord. So here we can see, the famous example is Hanuman, who burned the Lanka in the service of Krishna, in the service of Ram. Another example is Arjuna, who actually used his anger in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So the Lord is also reciprocating anger. Whole Bhagavad Gita, whole Kurukshetra war, because why? Because the Lord is upset on the activities of the Kauravas against the Pandavas. The Lord doesn't want to forgive that. He wants to wipe out all these weeds in the paddy field, unwanted, righteous rulers. Krishna wants Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king, and he is bent upon that he has to rule. I will remove all these obstacles. Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Duryodhan, everyone is wiped out. So Krishna is showing that he is reciprocating. I will protect my devotee. O Arjuna, boldly declare. Name bhakta pranashyati, that my devotee will not perish. Here the same, the Lord, the whole pastime of Narasimhadeva and Prahlad Maharaj is nothing but is an exhibition of the Lord protecting the devotee Prahlad at every stages of his life. The Lord is protecting the devotee, and the devotee is completely dependent on the Lord for the protection. Then what? Lobha sadhu sangha harikata. I will be greedy to hear the topics of Hari in the association of devotees. Okay? So hearing, it's our first step in spiritual life. If we lack motivation, if we lack kind of spiritual grip in our life, very simple, hear lectures of great Vaishnavas. Hear the lecture of Prabhupada. There are so many lectures available at this moment. We constantly hear from the Bhagavatam, other books, Bhagavad Gita, the lectures are spoken. We develop, here he says, greedy to hear the topics of Harikatha in the association of devotees. Then what? Moha ishta labha vinay. I will feel illusion without achieving my worshipable Lord. See? If I am not able to achieve the Lord, that is my illusion. I should be feeling illusioned if I am not able to achieve my worshipable Lord. Then what? Mada Krishna guna gane. I will be maddened while singing the glories of Krishna. Right? In this way, I will engage these enemies in their proper place. See? Narottam Das Thakur saying, I will engage lust by offering it in Krishna's service. Anger I will direct towards those who are envious of the devotees. I will be greedy to hear the topics of Hari in the association of devotees. I will feel illusion without achieving my worshipable Lord. I will be maddened while singing the glories of Krishna. So here, we try our level best to use we keep it simple. Just follow 4 regulative principles, serve Krishna. So then these material qualities are used in the service of Krishna, then become spiritual. This is a sadhana bhakti. Always thinking of Krishna, engaging in the service of Krishna, following the rules and regulation which is given by the previous acharyas. This is our sadhana bhakti. So when the material quality and the material thing used in the service of Krishna, it becomes spiritual. We should not be doing the other way. We should not be doing the other way. When a spiritual emotion is shown by the pure devotees and then we take it as a material, it becomes sahajya. We should be careful. The dealings of gopis with Krishna, the dealings of Krishna with the eternal associates of Vraja, it's not material, it's not mundane, even though it apparently look like material. That's why Prabhupada always caution and keep reminding and repeating us, don't go to 10th canto directly. Step by step. There are 9 cantos before that. Even in the 10th canto there are 29 chapters, that is Rasa Lila, it's in the middle. We don't jump into the pastimes of, intimate pastimes, esoteric pastimes of Krishna, because it's just that time we take it as a mundane affair of a man and a woman in this material world. Then what happened? You are making the spiritual emotions, spiritual qualities which is exhibited by the eternal associates of the Lord as just a material, you are just becoming sahaja. Sahaja means everything, making everything as material or spiritual into material. So this will make us cheap. This will make us cheap when we are trying to see the eternal pastimes of the Lord in a material vision, with a material telescope or material glass. You will prone to commit offenses. It's not going to help your devotion anyway. It is only going to add fire or fuel to your material lust. Take it cheap. So we should be very careful that we don't develop this sahaja mentality. That everything that we, even Krishna also warned in Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti ma muda manusham tanum ashritaha. That fools deride. Fools actually, they don't know. When they come as a human being, they think, oh, he is just like one of us. He is just like a politician. He is just like one of our king. So this is a pitfall. The jiva trying to take the position of the Lord. That's why we are here. The jiva, the spark, trying to become a fire, and it falls down. So we should not be doing the other way, that seeing the spiritual emotion, feelings and the qualities which is exhibited by the eternal associates and the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they are greatest devotee, and then we take that and compare to our dealing in this material world. We take, just like us, just like me, I can also do this. You will get into Sagaja mentality. Then you will take spiritual life cheap. We see in Vrindavan, people, we have to follow the footsteps of gopis, but we are not to imitate the gopis. So they dress like gopis. And they dance. It's not the body one has to understand. It's a siddha, it's a perfected stage. It is the siddha rupa, or your perfected stage, your spiritual body. It's not, your material body you cannot take anywhere. Forget about taking to the spiritual world. Your material body, you're going to leave it here. For the jackals, for the dogs, for the worms. It's going to convert into ashes, which is bad. The material is, everything is bad, right? So the material body is bad. There's nothing going to be beneficial. So how can we take this material body and we think, I'll dress like gopi, I'll dress like, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, I'll exhibit the emotions, cheap. So we should be careful. We should be following the regulating principles of devotional service. We do our sadhana, and then slowly we progress in the path of devotional service, where we are spontaneously, we are attracted, we are desiring to follow the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. Is a higher stage of bhakti. We're not able to control our mind and senses. Forget about the higher stage. Let us come to the understanding that I am not this body. This itself takes ages and lifetime. That time to understand I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. So we should be careful. So here, even the greatest demigods, they are fearful to go in front of the Lord. But the devotee, he is not fearful. Here they are pushing Prahlad Maharaj, you go. Because why? Krishna is pure, he is like the fire. So To deal with the fire, one has to be fire. Otherwise you will get burnt. Prabhupada explained that Krishna can be approached when one is pure. Here Prahlad Maharaj, he is affectionate, or if he is having that affection towards the Lord, who is fear personified. But he is not affected by any dualities, or he doesn't have any traces of material qualities, or he doesn't have anything selfish agenda. Right? Because he is beyond this duality. For the demigods, they are fearful of Hiranyakashipu and they want Hiranyakashipu to die so that they can go back to their abode. So they had some kind of agenda in the Lord to come and appear. It's not devotion. One should understand. So when there is no devotion and there is some kind of Mishra Bhakti, then we are little bit having that guilty consciousness to be present in front of the Lord because we are not pure yet. Of course, it's the initial stage that one has to start somewhere. The devotion can be kind of mixed bhakti, that's fine. But that's not our goal, that we remain in the mixed bhakti and we perform devotional service with our hidden agenda. Right? We give up that. One has to give up. At one point, one has to introspect. One has to think, why I am doing bhakti, why I am doing this, what is the goal, what I am trying to achieve out of this. Am I doing a business transaction with the Lord? Am I getting some mystic power, yogic siddhis? Am I interested in liberation and trying to achieve moksha? No? One has to see. So they are here, the demigods, the greatest of the demigods, the Brahma, Shiva, everyone is feared. They don't want to go in front of the Lord because they don't know what to do. They are seeing this fearful form. But Prahlad Maharaj, for him, the Supreme Lord is so attractive. Yeah. He is approaching and he is praying. So we're going to hear the beautiful verses and glorification of the Lord straight from the heart of a pure devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, which we're going to see this in this verse. And yeah. So I'll stop here and see if anyone has any correction, comments and questions on what we discussed today on this verse. Here, your mic, here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you for the nice class. Prabhuji, you mentioned when we do a service, we develop attachment for the Lord. But Prabhu, we see sometimes when we are stuck to a particular service and we're doing it every day, we become more attached to the service instead of becoming attached to the Lord. So how do we understand this?
There's a difference there, that one is attached to the service or one is attached to that he is doing the service. When we are attached to the service, we always want to give best to the Lord. So we are not worried whether I do the service or someone do the service. We are worried that the service has to go. But if one is attached to the service the way how he wanted that service, then is a problem. The way I wanted, that's how that has to be done, service. Maybe right in circumstances, but it is generally not the right way. We have to see what is best for the service, what is best for Krishna. So even if someone is giving a suggestion or someone is doing the service better than you, you should be happy that Krishna is receiving the best. This is a mood of Vrindavan, that everyone is not competing that Krishna has to be only for me. They are competing that everyone wants to serve, that Krishna should be happy. So generally, a very rare occasion that we get the service what we want to do. It is very rare. We usually don't get. If you get, you should be thankful and grateful to Krishna. There is also need of service, that you are asked to do certain service which you don't like. So you have to balance both. And eventually you will end up doing what you like to do for Krishna. But still, you should be doing whatever you are asked to do in a good frame, mind frame, or in a good consciousness. So if you think you are attached to service, then do some menial service. So there are many other services are there. So you can do that. Isn't it?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, thank you for explaining how to use lust, greed, anger in Krishna service. Prabhu, can you please elaborate how can we use pride, madness, illusion in the service of Krishna?
In Narottam Das Thakar, madness means that you are singing the glories of the Lord, you get maddened. We see sometimes devotees exhibiting that in Harinam, right? They're mad. Pride actually, it's not mentioned there. But one should be proud that he is Krishna's servant. That's a true pride, true false ego, right? Sorry, true ego. There is a false, not true false ego. True ego and false ego. Right? What is a true ego? That he is taking pride that he is a servant of Krishna. Like some people take pride, like I am the CEO of this company. What is like some material, some company, and they tell, I am this. We should be proud that I am the servant of Krishna. Right? We should be telling that I am Krishna's servant, I am a lover of God. So that's a real pride for a devotee. And use and act in that way. So that is a real use of true ego. Right? We cannot give up ego. But we should not have a low esteem that I am a devotee of Krishna. He is the most exalted position one can achieve in this human form of life, that he is a servant of Krishna. That's our real pride, isn't it? So that we can preach to people. Right? When you have that pride, then you can present yourself as who you are, and then you tell other people you are illusion, you are in Maya. You're thinking you are the great CEO, CFO, or the president, or whatever. You're trying to serve the nation or your family, but the real serving is you are the soul. You are Krishna's property, right? You should identify yourself as a Krishna servant. That's a real goal or the real designation of a person. The rest all are illusion. Rest all just it will go away. It will go away. So this is a real. So we should be proud that I am Krishna's servant. That's a real way of, that's the only way you can be pride of true ego. Otherwise you cannot be proud. What can you be proud of? Nothing belongs to you anyway. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, how do you understand when you're chanting, that's also a service? How do you accept it? Like sometimes you're chanting and doing nothing.
It's like you have a meeting with your manager. How do you understand that's a part of the work? It is a part of the work. When you're having a meeting with manager, because that's where you're going to have an intimate talk and what you're going to do, and you're going to ask some question, you're going to ask some discussion, what you're going to do the rest of the day and things like that. Right? Similarly, chanting is the time where your personal time with Krishna, you are begging from service. You're really trying to focus your mind. This is your time, so this is your service. This is your service to your soul. This is the time where you are really trying to absorb yourself in the holy name. So you have to take it very seriously. Exactly like you're going to have an important meeting or appointment with one of the company manager, how serious you will be. You take it really seriously. Every day notes you take it down, every appointment you record the meeting, minutes meeting, this, that, everything, right? Similarly, this is your meeting with Krishna. You take it very seriously, right? This is a time where Krishna is going to reciprocate with you. You're going to chant, you're going to call, you're going to think, because your mind is going to go everywhere, all over the place. You're going to bring everything, oh my God, isn't it? So you feel you should be humbled. With chanting, you should be praying to Krishna. You should be really begging, because it's not possible otherwise. Without the mercy of Krishna, you cannot able to hear the holy name. So we should be very much serious about chanting. Really take it serious and give a quality time, and whatever time you can give, you can able to be there. You can be there, it's like you are very attentive in a meeting like that. So take it seriously, then understand that this is what going to get me through. This chanting, we have to develop some taste, you have to put effort, you have to put some endeavor, you have to put, otherwise this is what you're going to save. Chanting your holy name, your chanting japa, this is what you're going to save you at the darkest moment of your life. Very simple. Simple. Because everything comes from chanting, right? Whatever spiritual progress, whatever spiritual position, advancement, everything comes from chanting, right? And if we are not able to get some kind of grip or a taste or looking forward to chanting, then we will lose interest in everything, right? If everything is taken out from you, right? Like you're not able to even follow 4 regulatory principles or something, but if you have taste for chanting, you can come back. Right? It's like the live wire. You can always have safety net. So chanting is our only hope, actually, if you really see. So take it seriously, and every day, otherwise it becomes mechanical, it becomes very dry. So your chanting should be, at least chanting should be serious. Okay? We'll stop here. Thank you very much, everyone, for patiently listening. Kantra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna, thank you for playing the mridanga. Sorry, I caught you. Is it?